All right, welcome everybody to another installment of the BookChanging Podcast. This is your host Tanner, the owner of BookChanging, and today my co-host is my buddy Chris.
What's up, y'all? How you doing?
So I'll link his Instagram in the description of this video. I'll link my Instagram in the description as well. You can go over follow Chris. He's really about internet marketing and things of that nature. But today we're discussing a long-awaited book that we've both been super excited for, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Man, this was an incredible book. I know Goggins has been talking about it for a while on all of his interviews. And basically, what Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins is a biography written by himself of just about every experience and encounter that he's had and how he's learned to really just overcome so many difficulties through voluntarily struggling. He talks about the enlightenment through pain and suffering that he achieved. So today I wanted to talk about our thoughts and opinions of the book, some of our favorite excerpts, and why we think you should read the book. So to start, you want to start with your overview, your overall opinion of the book, what you thought of it?
Yeah, so my overall opinion of the book, man, I love this book so much. It's definitely one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody that's been asking me about it, I'm always like, hey, you need to read this book. I don't care who you are. I would recommend this book to anybody.
Yeah.
There's so many things in this book that I can definitely apply to my own life, and I just finished the book a couple of days ago, and it's already helping me and pushing me in a new direction in life. So overall, this book definitely gets 2 thumbs up for me.
Yeah.
And I would for sure recommend it to just about anybody. Anybody can read this book and get something out of it.
Yeah, and we had that conversation. Really, a main thing that David used was physical exercise.
Yeah.
And you even said, you're going harder in the gym, you're going to the gym more often, pushing yourself further than you were before, because that's really what David Goggins used. And I told you I've been running more often, getting up earlier, because it's such a practical thing to get up early and go on a run, especially if you don't want to go on that run.
Yeah, and my thing is reading this book, seeing everything that he's been through and everything that he's going through right now, it just pushes you, and it's like you have no excuse to not do that, to not get up early, to not go on that run. Or for me, I've been jump roping a lot more, just trying to kind of get back in shape. And it's like when I feel pain, I just think of the book. I think of the book, and he's pushed himself far past what we can imagine what is painful. So reading the book really pushes you, and when you're going through those hard times, there's always another level that you can take it to and push past. Yeah, for sure.
So you talked about the Callous Mentality, and you have a page.
136,
Did you want to elaborate on that Callous Mentality?
Yeah, let's do it. 136. Okay, so I'll just read a little piece of it. It says, "Time stood still as I realized from the first time that I always looked at my entire life, everything I've been through, from the wrong perspective." And I skip down a little bit, and it says, "In that moment, I stopped seeing myself as a victim of bad circumstance and saw my life as the ultimate training ground instead."
Yeah.
That was fire.
That's powerful.
That was fire to me. So he basically explaining he was looking at his life through the wrong scope and really playing the victim card, like, why me? Why me? It's my color, my skin, or how I was raised, or I didn't have a father type thing. And he basically changed it and said, you know what? All these things that I'm going through, it's just setting me up to be successful. And it's just, if I overcome these challenges, it's going to make me that much of a stronger person.
Yep. Kind of the idea of it doesn't happen to you, it happens for you.
Right.
Everything that he went through was to build up that calloused mind, as he calls it, from the physical and mental abuse of his father in particular, to the racism that he dealt with, to being afraid of swimming and overcoming that fear of water and becoming a Navy SEAL. I mean, it's incredible to really think like he really was afraid of water and became a Navy SEAL.
Right. Overcame his fears.
Yeah, every single fear, basically every single fear that he had, he took it head on and destroyed it.
Insane.
And so I had a quote that kind of summed up his whole mentality on page 342. And it's a short quote. It says, "I was the sum total of the obstacles I'd overcome." And I think that's really just a summarization of the mentality that he developed through these struggles. And like I said, it's very practical. It's just like he talks about how he started going on runs and getting up early and doing that every single day, no matter the circumstance. He talks about he would see it raining outside, and the first thought that would come to his head is, let's lace up the running shoes.
Let's go do it.
So I think it's very practical that we can all get to this point of complete mental fortitude and mental strength through that voluntarily suffering on a daily basis.
That's good. Yeah, that's good for sure. To add to that, I would say, I think as society or people that are around you, we need to look at challenges, and we need to look at those challenges as things that we can overcome, and that can really better our life and really make us stronger, and not, like I was saying earlier, not play that victim card.
Yeah, and that's something, especially for our generation, right? We've become that
soft,
whiny, soft generation. Soft.
He mentions it in the book. We have become more soft.
Yeah.
So
he mentions it's easier to win now because everybody's soft. So if you stand out,
I mean, it is easy to win, and it's like it is easier to win now, but people are not taking advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's finish it up with why we think people should read this book. If you had to put it into a couple sentences, why do you think people should pick up this book and check it out?
I think people need to pick up this book and check it out on the fact that he says in this book that he believes that most of us are only using 40%
of our brain power.
Of our brain power. And we still got 60% to go. Even if we feel like we've given everything we have, he says that he only believes that we've given 40%.
Yeah.
And there's still another chunk that we can give. There's still another chunk that we can tap into and utilize. So even for me, I thought on the daily basis, I thought I was going hard every day, but, reading the book and, going through it made me realize there's another piece of me that I could really tap into. And so now I'm trying to tap into that 60%.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And he mentions that when he was running, I think it was one of the 100-mile races he was doing. He was tired, he was hurting, he was injured, and it was at that point that he figured out, he thought he had gone 100%, but he just pushed through that point. And at that point, he figured out, wait a minute, there's a whole other side of this when you push through that level of suffering.
Yeah, and it's crazy because once you push through that and you get over it, it's like, wow, what else can I do? What more can I get past?
Yep.
And he's mentioned that multiple times when he was in the bathtub and he was healing up from one of the races, and his wife was right there, I believe so. He was bleeding and some other crazy stuff was going on, and he was just like, wow, what else can I do? What more can I accomplish? If I just did this right here,
Yeah.
So
I completely agree. And I think another reason that people should check this book out is if you've enjoyed any of his content as far as the interviews, it's really just a more in-depth version of those interviews.
Yep.
So if you have any unanswered questions of, wait, Goggins did this or he did that, he really goes step by step, in depth through all of the struggles in his life. I mean, it starts out as a child, a 5 to 10-year-old child who's staying up overnight to work at his dad's business, and a gun. His dad pointed a gun in his face multiple times.
And there's a scene in there with he's on a school bus,
Yeah, he witnesses.
We can't give that away because we gotta pick up the book.
He witnesses some crazy
stuff. So
just the trauma that he goes through one piece of that trauma would mess a regular person up.
Oh man, mess him up.
But he through the techniques he talks about in his book, he just overcomes again and again and again.
Yep.
And I think it'll completely inspire anybody that reads it.
Yeah, and I would say if you're not into reading the books, I heard the audio version was just as good. And he adds some extra stuff in there. I was told by multiple people that the audio, the podcast version is just as good.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. So I'll leave a link in the description to check this book out on Amazon, and we'll leave an Audible link as well.
Yep.
Like I said, I'll have Chris's Instagram in the link in the description. And thank you guys for tuning in.
Peace.